Welcome to this week's video. If you're new here, my name is Jen. My family and I live in Nunavut. My son was born at 27 weeks, and this is the story of how my daughter was born. August 19th, while I was at physio with Sebastian and Luke, I started to have cramping and spotting. I didn't want to admit to myself what was happening. I didn't want to be in labor, so I ignored it for a little bit, just to get through Seb's appointment. But it became very clear very quickly that this was labor. I was only 29 weeks along. I really didn't want it to be real. So I let Luke know that I think I'm in labor. We're in St. Andrews and we had to get to St. John. I called my aunt to see if she could meet us in St. George to get Sebastian, and luckily she was able to. So we put some gas in the car, transferred Seb to their car, and off we went to St. John. Once we were in labor and delivery, they examined me. I was 1 to 2 centimeters dilated and 50% effaced. So that means they could feel that my cervix was getting thinner, which is just not good. So they started me on some medication. I legitimately do not remember the name of it right now. But it was to slow down / stop my labor if possible and buy us some time for my little girl to get bigger. They also gave me some antibiotics, and I had an IV line put in. Wasn't the smartest, unfortunately, and I put it in my right hand, which would be the bane of my existence for the next few days. I really don't enjoy IVs in my hand. Needles are fine, but the IV bothers me. I'm sure it bothers everyone. I don't know. I haven't had that many IVs in my life. I'm rambling. Sorry, had a phone call from my sister. Where were we? So once I got those running, they told me that I was going to be admitted for the foreseeable future, so they could keep me on a very strict bed rest, which was very, very different from my Winnipeg experience. And so on bed rest, I remained. So they got us moved to our room, and my bed rest began. In the middle of the night, probably 1 or 2 in the morning, that first night that I was in the hospital, I woke up in a puddle. They rushed me over to labor and delivery. They needed to test whether it was amniotic fluid, and they do that with a speculum and a swab. Now, if any woman out there has had a pap smear, you know what this is like. But let me add this wrinkle. Because I was partially dilated, they couldn't use regular lubrication because the risk of infection with the baby coming out could have been bad. So I got speculum inserted with just sterile water as lubrication, and that was awful. That hurt more than my labor pains, and they kept having to move it around a little bit. It was very, very uncomfortable. It turns out it was amniotic fluid. So now we are very worried. So they got the ultrasound out quickly to check the levels of amniotic fluid around her, and they were still fine. So it just appeared that I was leaking a little bit of fluid, and she was still fine, not in distress. Heartbeat was strong. She was doing great. But now I'm a little bit more freaked out. And now we were on the lookout for leaking amniotic fluid. Luke and I just got back from having an ultrasound. There's still lots of fluid around the baby, which is good. Her heart rate is good. Her brain is good. Her lungs are good. Blood flow through the umbilical cord looks good. Every hour we get, we're happy. They switched my IV line yesterday, so they're able to take it off sometimes when they need to. At some point today, I'll be off the IV antibiotics and I'll be on oral antibiotics instead, which will be nice. I don't know when this thing is coming out. I hope sometime soon, because I wasn't the smartest and I got it in my dominant hand, so it's making everything a little bit harder to do, but we're still doing okay. Seb is with my parents, and he's headed up to stay with my sister for a few days, so that'll be nice for him. So we've made it to Tuesday. Pretty good since I'm here Friday. We'll see how she keeps going. I don't know, I've got a bad feeling. It might be today. I don't want it to be. I don't know. I hadn't had any spotting for a few days, or amniotic fluid leaking, because that's what it is. But I've had a couple more leaks today. No, like cramping or labor, but I don't know. I just think it might be today. I don't want it to be. I just want her to stay. Oh, we'll see. This might all be for nothing, this motion, but I don't know. It's a rainy day outside and just kind of having a sad day, I guess. We'll see. So I've started cramping again. Luke's on his way back from the grocery store. Oh, ouch. My nurse is calling labor and delivery right now. I think my feeling was right. I kind of just need to get this all out. So I was right. Luke was gone to the grocery store, and I went to the washroom and realized I was leaking some more amniotic fluid, and I noticed a blood clot in the toilet. Not very big, but it was there. So I went back to bed. I was about to hit the button for my nurse, and she just happened to be walking in. And as I'm telling her about the blood clot, I start cramping. So she runs and calls labor and delivery and hooks me up to the fetal heart monitor, and the doctor comes over and checks me, and I'm 9.5 centimeters. So now Luke is not here. Luke is still at the grocery store. I call him quickly while they prep me and take me over fast. They bring the whole bed, no wheelchair this time. And they got me on the bed, and it was good. And they hooked up my IV and started giving me magnesium to protect her brain. because the more magnesium she gets, the less likelihood there could be a brain bleed while she's still in my stomach. And they checked her with the ultrasound, and she's good, and I've got like bulging, a little gross, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I've got bulging membranes and stuff. It's lovely. But she stayed put for an hour. They got a full dose of the magnesium that they wanted to get into her. And again, she was head down. It was good. Because of the way the membranes were, they were not able to give me an epidural. I found that out when I was checked again. So that was a little sad for me. They gave me laughing gas, but laughing gas does nothing for me. I've discovered now that I've used it. It really did nothing for me. My labor still hurt. And so they decided, okay, let's get this going. Get this over with. We'll get this baby delivered. Put me out of my misery. It'll be good. And the doctor reached up to break my water. She could feel baby girl's head. And as the water broke, she shifted. And she moved, so she was no longer head facing down. And with all the fluid, part of the cord came out. So then it got pretty scary pretty quick. And they knew that they needed to do an emergency C-section. And so that's what we did. And because they needed to do it so fast, they wanted to knock me out. And so they did. I was a little annoyed with the anesthesiologist. No fault of his own. He's just the way he was talking, just the cadence of his voice. I was not enjoying having him in the room, but I knew he was there for a good purpose. It was fine. They had someone reach up in and hold the cord up so it wasn't getting compressed, and so she would keep getting oxygen. And that hurt worse than the labor for me at the time. I just remember laying there with my arms out on the thing, and they're holding a mask on my face and telling me to just breathe and deep breaths over and over. And all I'm thinking is, when are you going to knock me out? Just knock me out. I don't want to feel this anymore. Just get her out. And eventually the doctor was ready, and I say eventually, it wasn't that long. It was only a couple minutes. It just felt like a really long time. The doctor was ready. I remember they put the antiseptic, I don't know what it is, whatever it is, splashed it on my belly. And then they gave me the meds, and asleep I went. And their daughter was born at 4:56 p.m. She was 3 pounds, 3 ounces. I don't know how long she is. I don't even know her name yet. I'll pick that soon. I woke up in recovery, and Mom was there, and I got Luke to go with our little girl so she wouldn't be alone. The weirdest feeling for me right now is because I'm in so much pain from the incision. It doesn't, like, I still feel kind of pregnant, if that makes sense. Like, the tension and fear I've had over the last couple of days waiting for cramping, like, I have a sort of cramp because of this pain that I'm feeling. So I still feel like I'm pregnant, even though I'm not. I was able to look in on her. They took me from recovery still in my bed, and the big beds are not made for the NICU, but they brought me in and brought me to the doorway, and I was able to see her from afar. Tomorrow I'll get to see her and hopefully hold her. She's doing really well. She's got her CPAP on, and she was at 30% oxygen, and she was kicking and swinging her hands and feisty. My feisty girl. Okay, I just needed to get that out. Talk to you later. Second under G2. At 21% oxygen for CPAP. Ooh. So after half an hour of pumping, this is all I have to show. Every little bit helps, but that's really frustrating. With a C-section, they say it can take a few more days for my supply to come in. So I just gotta keep going, but it's soul crushing to pump for that long and just get that much milk. Alright, I'm gonna go see my girl. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You keep me happy when skies are gray. Dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. She's a little bit jaundiced, so they're gonna start some light therapy. They're just getting some gauze for her eyes to keep them safe. Phototherapy time. This time went a little bit better. Yay, I've got almost 10 mils. I think it's gonna work. I got this. Luke's getting all geared up to bring milk to Miss Lucy. Baby girl in your suntan. Her V is out. Yay! I'm outside. Leaving is pretty bittersweet. Because of the exposures, I'm going to need to be tested every time I come to the hospital until next week. Good to see Zeb though.
Like the main hero is laying Optimus Primal. Main bad guy. Of course. Tell me about all the stuff you did.
So I'm pumping. And Seb just got home from my sister's.
Guess who's in here? You know who's in here? Who's in there? Open the door.
Hi, baby.
Hey, we need to talk a little bit now.
I love
About
you.
the belly.
So, 1, 2, 3. Say 1, 2. Whoa!